Okay, good morning, everybody. And how are you today? It is Thursday. Here we go. We started out this month and we started talking about having a little bit of a theme. And I think the theme that we were talking about was the theme of everything that we were going to talk about and share this month was going to be based upon taking stock. And taking stock financially really is sort of a reflection where we stop for a minute and we say, where am I? And where am I going? And we've had all of this crazy COVID stuff. And what happens is a lot of times these events, when they happen, we sort of get caught off guard. Have you ever been in a situation where you got caught off guard, right? And when we get caught off guard, what's happening is it was something that happened that was maybe unexpected or an unplanned event or some circumstance that we didn't have any consideration, at least in terms of our radar, thinking about, I should consider that, something might happen with a pandemic. Nobody in their right mind was thinking about a pandemic. And what happens is we get into the situation where, let me ask you a question. You ever have a day where you just felt like all the confidence that you had is just gone and you've just lost all the confidence and you start thinking about, man, everything I do is just like it's not working. It's just like all sucked out of me and this doesn't work. And then all of a sudden we're trying to do this and that doesn't work. And what it is it's not so much that the confidence has been sucked out of us. It's just about some of the things that we're thinking and how we're framing stuff. One of the things that I learned a long time ago and learned to adopt and adapt in my life were 3 words that I think are like poison to the brain. Those 3 words are, I don't know. Bad. I don't know. It's not that you don't know. Maybe you don't ask. Maybe we got to take more time. But when you say, I don't know, you already know. Everything that you've done in your life is a reflection of everything that you knew and figured out along the way. But when we start a day and we get up and we have that day start off on a path and we just feel like, man, we've just lost our confidence. I don't know what's working. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to figure out my bills. I'm trying to figure out my retirement. And I'm just trying to keep things going, right? And so when something like this COVID happens, nobody had that on their radar. I didn't have it on my radar. And all of a sudden, like a gut punch, we're all trying to figure out what now, right? What do we do now? And why is it that we get into that situation and we can't just seem to figure out how to make stuff work? And it's not that we can't figure out how to make stuff work. It's the kind of question that we're asking that keeps us sort of in that pattern, what I kind of refer to as the dead hamster on the wheel pattern. Nobody wants to feel like a dead hamster, for God's sake. But what happens is it's a cycle. It's a pattern. And we have these patterns. We have patterns in everything that we do. We have an eating pattern. We have a sleeping pattern. We have a thinking pattern. We have a pattern with our money. All of these things are like little patterns. And what we're trying to do is figure out how to hack into that pattern and sort of like rewire it a little bit, because when you feel like you have lost all your confidence, man, that just sucks. I mean, I know what that feels like. And so sitting here with going through all the financial chaos that's been created by this pandemic is not easy for anybody. And so it's not so much, I think, that we lost our confidence as much as connecting. So when we started out this month with the theme, we had that theme of taking stock. And what taking stock does is it gives you an opportunity to stop for a minute and reflect. Where am I today? That's kind of an assessment. Where do I want to be tomorrow financially? And how do I get from here to tomorrow? And I mean literally tomorrow. Sometimes we're thinking just about feeding the family, right? And we've got these choices: rent, mortgage, or feeding family. And what happens is that starts that cycle. We're starting to feel that cycle. And what we've got to do is we've got to figure out how to hack that. We've got to figure out how to go in and really reposition what the perspective is, because every time we get that in our brain, every time we start having the what I call the mind chatter, the wheel just keeps going. It's the dead hamster on the wheel. I can remember back in the day, the first time that I ever had an audit case where I was representing a client before the IRS. It was late 80s, I think 89. And I remember this had been my first audit. I never had done this before. And man, it was like that confidence thing. You know, I knew I was ready. I knew I was prepared. I knew I had everything together, but you just have that little bit of doubt, right? What if I don't win? What if the IRS wins and I lose and my client loses? And so I know what that feels like. And it sucks. I mean, to be blunt. And what happens is it's not that we've lost confidence. It's we have changed our perspective and we've started doubting, right? We've started doubting. You ever have a situation where something happens, particularly financially, and then you start second guessing? Oh, is that the right decision? Should I have done that? Should I have done this? Right? Nobody likes that feeling. That feeling sucks. And so what happens is when we get into that cycle and we start doubting or second guessing, then it starts escalating and it starts creating this big snowball, right? And all of a sudden, even the most minor little thing becomes exaggerated or amplified. And we get amplified on things that just really in any other day would probably not matter. And when it comes to money, it's even more amplified because money's a big deal. Try not having any money and it's a big deal. Trust me, I know. And so what happens when I talk about taking stock and I talk about staking your claim, claiming something financially or in any other aspect of your life, what I'm talking about is that connection. And those three words, I don't know, those three words are like danger. Those three words are like poison to the brain, because what it does is it just erodes what confidence that we have. And it's not that we don't know, we have doubt and we've disconnected from that confidence. And when you have something that you're shooting for, when you have not a goal, I'm talking about an outcome. The big difference between a goal and an outcome. An outcome is yours. You've claimed it. You've staked it out. You've got a North Star guiding you. And you've done this a million times in your life. Let me ask you a question. Do you remember the first time that you got your driver's license and how that felt? How cool was that? I mean, that was like totally cool. You're like big cheese on the block, right? Remember the first time that you passed a test? Remember the first time you went on a date? Remember just all these things that we've done in our life for the first time, and the feeling, the emotion that we had, the confidence that it gave us. The first time you solved a problem, and the first time you went on a job interview and you got your first job or your last job, you nailed it. Bam, you nailed it. That's what I'm talking about. So when we get something like this COVID and we get something that just throws the entire country upside down financially, what we end up doing is we internalize that stuff in such a way that everything that we do, everything that we think about, everything that we touch, we have doubt. And it's not that we have doubt. What it is that, and I discovered this a long time ago, we disconnected from that core. We disconnected from that confidence. We disconnected from a whole history of our life where we've done millions of things in our life and we knocked it out of the park. I mean, really knocked it out of the park. And so when I'm talking about core, when I'm talking about your core, my core, I'm talking about that thing that we connect to, that when you walk in the room, everybody knows you. Everybody sees you. Everybody sees the confidence. And it's apparent. It's so obvious that man, that's a confident woman. Man, that's a confident dude. And that's what we all have inside of us. And when we disconnect from that, it feels pretty lonely. It sucks. It really sucks. And so our core is really a combination of the confidence and the connection. okay? The confidence and the connection, the things that we do that express that we are confident. You don't have to tell people you're confident. They look at you and see what you do and you nail it. That's why you got hired for the last job. That's why you started a business. That's why you've done a million things in your life. That's how you got your driver's license for the first time. There was a time when you didn't know how to ride a bike. And what did you do? You rode a bike. And when you fell down, what did you do? You got up and rode it again. I mean, it's patterns, right? So we have a gazillion. How many? A gazillion examples in our life where we have won it. We have done it. We way out of the park, knocked it out of there. And when something like COVID happens, when something like this financial disruption happens, what it is it's unexpected. It's unexpected. Nobody expected that. And we weren't prepared. And I remember back in the day when I was a Boy Scout, and I loved the Boy Scouts. And I remember, you had to get these different badges. And one of the badges that we did on a weekend camp out was the Trailblazer badge. And I had to carry the bag with the little flags. And I was the Trailblazer to get the badge. And we had to mark the trail and put a flag here. It's green, we get to go. It's red, don't go that way. And I remember marking the flag about every, 100 feet or 200 feet, whatever it was. And I remember when we got out there and then we camped and we came back the next day, we had the trail blazed. It was there. There was the green flag. There was the red flag. Don't go down that way because there's no bridge over there. And I remember thinking back when I was a lot older, I remember thinking about that's kind of what life is like. Life is like a trail that you blaze every day. And a lot of times we're on a trail, we don't know where it's going. We don't know where it's going to lead. And somebody's got to lead the way. That's you. You do that already. It's a confidence that you already have. And so what happens when I don't know gets into our brain, it just screws everything up. It's not that you don't know. It's that you're looking for the right answer. But there's not a right answer. We're still stuck in deciding. And it's not about deciding, it's about doing. We'll figure shit out if we do something. Nothing in the universe happens until something moves. And so look at all the times when you've done it. That feeling that when you did something and you got it. Bam, you got it. And when you hit that emotion and that feeling and it says, this matters, I did this. And when you nailed it and you got that job, you nailed it and got that driver's license, all of those things are the examples. And we disconnect and we forget the emotion. We forget the feeling, the confidence that gave us. And that's what's inside of our core. And so we disconnect. We allow the noise, the mind chatter, the bullshit. Oh, what people think or what people think what they're going to think, right? What my neighbor's opinion of me is none of my business. As long as they don't go over my property and start building shit that's on my property, I don't care what they do. But we get distracted and we get tied up in all this emotion, and then we can't see the trail because it's different, it's new, we haven't done this before. And that's the stride that we have when we walk, and we know we have that confidence. There's nothing more powerful in the universe than a human being with purpose, passion, and the power of confidence, their core. There is nothing, in my experience in life, more powerful than a human being that has purpose and passion. And that's you, that's me. We all have that. When we're having those days where we get up and we say, man, today's another shitty day, I'm gonna stay in bed. No, you've gotta get up, you've gotta do it. It doesn't take willpower. You're not gonna do this with willpower. Willpower is good for Will, and it's his power, not your power. Your power is your core. Your power is to know you're the woman, you're the man that has done this a million times. You have done this a million times where you've done something for the first time and it's never been done before and you knocked it out of the park. You got the driver's license, you got the first date. And all of these different examples, they may sound small, they may sound trivial. No, they're not. They're what built up a life of experience doing stuff, not deciding stuff. You've already decided you're going to be debt free. You've already decided financial freedom. It's not making money, it's financial freedom. Financial freedom means that you have more choices. You have more money because you have done more things, and that gives you more choices. Then when something like the pandemic hits, or an unexpected bill happens, or an unexpected emergency happens, you're prepared. Remember, I remember the motto in the Boy Scout, always be prepared. And I thought, you know, it was kind of a corny, goofy kind of saying when I was a kid. But, you know, I look back and I do things today that were instilled in me, and those things that I did that I gained confidence when I was a Boy Scout, and I was being prepared. And being prepared is really about having a plan and being flexible and just go with things and figure them out. But we get stuck and we get our pride or our ego or I don't know, all kinds of bullshit. And then we don't ask for help, or we don't ask different questions, or we start thinking about things that have nothing to do with what we're thinking about, so we can avoid thinking about the things that we should be thinking about and doing something. When we take aim, when we stake a claim, and when we plant our flag and say, that's mine, man, there is nothing more powerful than a human being with purpose that does that. And you've done that a million gazillion times. I'm going to give you an exercise for today, and I want you to do this exercise. This will help. This will give you so much of connecting back to your core. It'll absolutely blow your mind, and it'll make sense tomorrow when I bring this all together tomorrow. I want you to take a piece of paper today when you've got 5 minutes of personal time. What kind of time? Personal time. You should always have some amount of time that is personal time. This is James's personal time. And that personal time is for you to do whatever you do for you. You have to be the most important person in the world in that moment. And write down 10 very bitchin' cool things that you've done in your life where you knocked it out of the park. And you had that confidence, you were standing tall, you were the woman that everybody looked at and said, man, that chick is cool. Look at the confidence. Man, that dude is cool. Look at that people know that because you see it in how you act and how you walk. And so write down those 10 things, and then write down next to each one of those, write the emotion. Write the emotion that you felt. Pride. You felt strong. You felt great. Write that, because what you're doing is you're reminding yourself what it felt like, what the emotion was like to be connected to the things that you've done that were just awesome and great. The change and the transformation, you are the energy that drives all things and that harnesses that power, that core strength. Nobody can take it from you, and nobody can deny it from you. You got to take stock. Yeah. You got to stake your claim. Yeah. You've got to plant your flag and find your North Star. Those aren't platitudes. That's how it actually works. When you have purpose and that is connected in your core and you have that confidence, it feeds everything else that you do. And there is absolutely nothing that will stop you. It's not that we're having financial troubles. It's that we're not telling our money where to go, and we need a little bit of help to figure that out. All right, well then let's do that, right? Let's just do that. But we get into these patterns, and then we start acting like the dead hamster on a wheel. Don't be the dead hamster, right? Be that person that knows. You've done this a million times. And when we come back tomorrow, I'm going to pull this all together. This little assignment is important. It's going to remind you of the things that you forget when you feel like this. And those things are the things that you've done where you just knocked it out of the park. Confidence, yeah, at least that, all right? This is what we do. And when we make a difference in our own life, it's a lot easier to make a difference in somebody else's life, right? Be the change that you expect. Be the confident woman or man that you already are. I can't teach confidence. I can only show you how to reconnect to it. But you have already done it a million times. Well, just make a list of the things that are important that you want to work on. And then let's just get started working on that. That part's easy. This part takes a little bit more connection. Get my point? All right. I want you to have an awesome day. I want you to write down your list. I want you to just write down 10 things that you've done in your life where nobody could question that was just out of the park, and then write down how you felt. Get connected to that core. That's your core strength. And tomorrow I'm going to bring this all together, and I'm going to show you a hack, a little technique where you will always, in an instant, be able to connect to that core, that confidence. That's the thing that makes you so unique, and that's the thing that makes a difference in your life, and nobody is going to take it away from you. I'm going to give you this hack tomorrow, and I'm going to show you how to always have it. And when you do that, things are going to shift, and you're going to start seeing in an instant how fast things transform. All right, are we good? All right, awesome. This is James Harnsberger. I want to thank you for joining me, and I will see everybody tomorrow. I want you to have an awesome day and go make a difference.